So we've done these sections a little out of order. Here we are with circumference and arc length. Today we're going to learn how to find the arc length of a circle. First, simplify the expressions. So let's go here. Simplifying the expressions. 45 and 360 are both divisible by 45. 360 divided by 45 is 8. So 45 divided by 45 is 1. So 45 over 360 is going to be equal to 1/8. Now 120 over divided by 360, that can simplify to 12 over 36, which can simplify to, pen here, 1/3 of 9 pi. And that would be 9 pi over 3, which would simplify to 3 pi. Next one, 15 pi divided by 3 would simplify to 5 pi. And 60 over 360, that's going to simplify to 360 divided is 1/6 times 15 pi. That's 15 pi over 6. Those are both divisible by 3. So that's 5 pi. Hold on, having slate issues here. 5 pi over 2. The central angle of a circle measures 82 degrees. Find the measure of the intercepted arc. So we learned about this in chapter 10. Basically, we have a circle. We have a center of the circle. So the center of the circle is going to be about right there. We have an arc. Okay, the central angle is 82 degrees. So the intercepted arc is also going to be 82 degrees. And then solve this proportion. It's going to be easier if I simplify first. This is going to be 12 over 36, which simplifies to 1/3. So x equals 3 times 3.8. And that's going to equal 11.4. The lesson talks about how to find the circumference of a circle. I expect you to know and to have known for many years that circumference is equal to the pi times the diameter, which is same as 2 pi r. 2 times the radius would give you the diameter. I am not going to go through these problems on how to find the circumference of a circle. I'll leave this for you if you want to stop and try these problems, but I expect you to know them. I am going to talk, though, about revolutions on a tire. So if I have the dimensions of a car tire are shown in right, and we want to know how far the tire travels when it makes 15 revolutions. Find this interesting that we did questions like this numerous times in my 7th grade advanced math class last year. So you can find the diameter of this tire by adding up these parts here. The metal rim part is 15 inches. Rubber part of the tire is 5.5 inches width all the way around. So when you add the 15 inches of the wheel rim plus the two 5.5s, you get 26. And 26 times pi is 81.68. In this section, I'm going to start using this calculator instead so we can have a pi button. So 26 times pi equals 81.68. So that's the rough circumference of the circle. Now the tire is going to rotate around 15 times. So when it goes around 15 times, it's going to go a total distance of just over 1,225 feet. Is the total distance that the tire is going to travel. Okay? Find the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 5 inches. I expect you to be able to do this. I'm not spending time in the video. There are your answers. Now, if we had a car tire that has a diameter of 28 inches, how many revolutions does the tire make while traveling 500 feet? Another problem that I did quite a bit last year. So the car tire has a diameter of 28 inches. Times pi is going to equal, so when it revolves around one time, it goes basically 87.96. So let me write that down here. I'm going to lose that. 87.96. I have two calculators going here, one with a pi button, one without. So if it goes a total of 500 feet, that means divided by 87.96, the tire is going to rotate a little bit less than 6 times in order to go that entire distance. And actually, I just caught myself. It's 87.8696 inches. So it's not going to go that amount of time. We want to go 500 feet. So we have to figure out 500 feet times 12 is how many inches? It's actually 6,000 inches divided by 87.96. So it's going to go rotate about 68.2 times. So they round it to 68 whole revolutions. We're going to talk about the arc length. So the arc length is a portion of the circumference of a circle. We've talked about this. We did a lot in chapter 10, finding the measure of the arc in degrees. Now we want to figure out the length. So there's some formulas that we can do. So to find the arc length, we're going to take the measure of arc AB out of 360. So basically, what percent of the total circle does the arc cover? And we're going to multiply it by 2 pi r, which is the circumference. So let's look at how we would do this. So in this example, if this central angle is 60, this arc is 60. So 60, and I know I have it right below there, out of 360. That basically simplifies to 1/6. So 1/6 of the total circumference is going to be the length of this arc. So the total circumference is 2 times 8 is 16 pi. I want to use my calculator with the pi button. So 16 times pi equals, so I want 1/6 of that amount. So I can just divide by 6, and I'm going to get about 8.38 is what it's going to round to in centimeters. Okay, now we're going to find the arc length of the red arc. Okay, so once again, 60 over 3/6 is going to be 1/6 of 22 times pi. So we'll do this for you. 22 times pi equals that amount, 1/6 of that, so just divide it by 6, is 11.52. Get rid of this calculator. And now find this arc length. So 120 over 360. Now let's say you didn't feel like simplifying it. You don't have to simplify it. Where'd the calculator go? So we have a circumference of 22 times pi equals that amount. I'm going to multiply by 120 and divide by 360 times 120 equals that amount divided by 360 is going to equal about 23.04. Okay. Now we're going to work this backwards. They will actually not backwards, but they want us to find the circumference. And so we have a little bit of a different formula. We're saying that this angle is going to measure 40 degrees. So 40 degrees out of 360 is 1/9. So 4.1 is going to be 1/9 of the circumference. So the circumference is 37.71. I could actually then divide that by pi if I wanted to actually get the diameter. Okay, now they want the measure of arc RS. Okay, once again, we know that 44 is compared to 2 times pi times the radius. So they skip some math here. I'm going to actually do this. So 2 times 15.28, you do this in any order. So that's the diameter times pi equals, the circumference is about 96. So 44 out of 96 times, okay, 360. Okay, so 44 times 360 equals that number, divided by 96 equals 165. So those were examples with everything worked out. Now we're going to actually solve some problems. So in this case, they want to find the length. Okay, so P to Q. So that's 75 is going to be the measure of the arc P to Q over 360. And that's going to be equal to the amount over the total diameter. Total diameter, not total diameter, sorry, total circumference is 9 pi. So we're going to have 360x equals 9 times pi times 75. It's going to equal that number. And then we're going to divide by 360. And that's going to equal about 5.89. Now we're going to find the actual circumference, okay, of circle N. So we have an obtuse angle here, 270 out of 360 equals 61.26 over x. I could simplify, but I see no reason to because I'm using a calculator. So I can just do this in the calculator. So that's 61.26 times 360 equals, divided by 270 equals about 81.68 is the total circumference. If I wanted to find the radius, 81.68 divided by 3.14 equals, my radius on this is going to be about my diameter is going to be about 25.99 divided by 2, and that's going to be my radius. So now we're actually going to do that. We're going to find the radius. Well, we've accidentally left the answer uncovered, but we still can go through the problem if you need help here. So, some troubles here with the slate. There we go. 10.5 over the circumference is going to be equal to 150 out of 360 total degrees. I'm going to simplify here a little bit because I feel like it. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. And 36 divided by 3 is 12. I'm going to make it a little bit easier. So now I'm going to do 10.5 times 12 is 126 divided by 5 is 25.2, but that's the total circumference. Okay, so now 25.2 divided by 3.14, and actually I should have used the pi button, but still that's going to give us about 8.02, and I divide that in half to get the radius. It is going to be 4.01. World problem here. We have a track, and the track curves at the ends are 180-degree arcs of circles. So the radius of the arc for a runner on the red path is 36.8 meters. About how far does the runner travel to go once around the track? So the path of the runner is two straight sections, 84.39, 84.39, and then two half circles that have a radius of 36.8, so you're going to find the circumference of those. So we're going to add up parts here basically. So I'm going to work here. So we have 84.38, sorry, 84.39. We have two of those. And so that's going to be 168.78. So 168.78. Now we have two semicircles. They're going to add up to a whole circle. And the circumference of that circle is going to be the radius times 2, because that's going to give us the diameter, times, I'm going to use the pi button, and that's going to equal 231.22. I just want to double check that because I'm afraid when I moved it, I hit a button. Times 2 times pi equals 231.22. So 231.22 plus the 168.78 of the two sections of red track here means you're going to run about 400 meters if you follow the red track path. And there is our answer. Now let's say you ran the blue part. People always talk about track, if you're further out, you're actually running a further distance. So you're still running the two 84.39s, which we said, I'm just going to look back here, was 168.78. So you're still running 168.78. Okay? But the circumference of the circle you're running is 44.02 times 2 times pi equals, so the circumference of that circle is 276.58 plus 168.78 is going to give you a total of 445.37. Okay, so they rounded it to 4. So if you're running the blue part of the track, you are actually going to run 45.4 meters further. One other thing that also gets thrown in this lesson is also measure angles in radians. So they have a work thing here. You can work it out. We're not going to do that in the interest of time. We're going to look at two formulas, basically. They're just conversions. If we have a circle and we have the measure in degrees, to convert to radians, it's basically pi over 180. But we tend to use the formula 2 pi equals 360. So to convert from degrees to radians, 45 times 2 pi over 360. Okay? And we tend to leave this in terms of pi. So the 90 and the 360 cancel out to 1/4 pi, or pi over 4. And to convert radians, so 3 pi 2, we're going to multiply by 360 times 2 pi. So when we multiply across, we're going to get, these are going to cross simplify here. This can actually reduce to 180 over 2. Sorry about that here, made a mess here. 360, so that's 180. That's 1. So I'm going to leave the pi alone there. 180. You can still cross simplify further. Times 3 is 540, but then divided by 2 is 270. Okay, so 3 pi 2 equals 270 radians. And now we have the daily homework quiz. So to find the circumference, the diameter is 13. Sorry, if the radius is 13, the diameter is 26, times pi is 81.68. Problem number 2. Okay. Find the radius if the circumference is 48. So that's 48 divided by pi means the diameter is that amount, is the radius. So that's 7.639. So rounds to 7.64. Now we're going to find the length of AB. So arc AB is going to be 55 degrees out of a possible 360. The length is going to be that proportion divided by the circumference. So 18 is the diameter times pi is 56.5 is what that's going to round to. So now we're going to cross multiply. 55 times 56.5 is that number divided by 360 is 8.63. I must have rounded wrong when I said 8.63. That's it. No, it's going to round to 8.63. Okay. Find the total circumference of the two circles. Okay. So this is 16. Total circumference of the two circles. So the diameter here is 16. 16 times pi equals, so that's of 1. There's two circles here, so about 100.53 is the total circumference. Find the indicated measure. They want us to solve for the radius. So 110 is the arc measure in degrees out of 360 is going to equal 42 out of the entire circumference. Okay. So 360 times 42 equals 15,120 divided by 110. Okay, that's the circumference back here. That's the circumference. We want the radius though. So we're going to divide that by pi to get the diameter. And now we're going to divide by 2 to get the radius. And we're looking at approximately 21.9. Or they rounded to 21.88. Never tell me what they're going to round to. Okay. And problem number 6, find the circumference. So I have 150 degree arc over 360 degrees equals 92.8 over an entire circumference. So 360 times 92.8 equals that number divided by 150. Whoops, I hit something wrong here. So 360 times 92.8 equals 33,408 divided by 150 equals 222.72. And we were finding the circumference. Now, here are the pages which your homework problems come from.